this video will be talking about what do I do when it's really hot. Now, I don't really want to focus on these smaller windows. I want to focus on the big window because obviously big windows take up a lot more solution, and cleaning a window in the heat when it's bigger will obviously dry out quicker. So I wanted to use this. This is probably the biggest window I've got to work on. So ideally I want it to be bigger, but if I use a smaller squeegee, then hopefully we can get the same message across. Just scale it up with a bigger window and bigger squeegee. So some of the excuses that I've heard from, we use window cleaning on YouTube, but the YouTube window cleaners, I should say, as references. The reason why they can't use this tool is, well, they come up with these silly excuses like, well, you can't use these tools on residential work, you can't use these tools on commercial work, you can't use these tools when you live in New Mexico, you can't use these tools in San Diego, you can't use these tools if you live in Arizona. So the reason why they can't use these tools is because they haven't got that much skill to use these tools. And obviously when you're working in a hot place, then you will have some sort of issues, but you'll have issues wherever you work in terms of temperature. If it's cold, if it's hot, you just have to evolve and adapt. And lots of window cleaners, and it's definitely easily defined on YouTube just by watching YouTube window cleaners, they're not versatile, they're not adaptable, and they're not really that skillful either. So what do I need to do to combat working in the direct sunlight when it's 35 degrees or hotter? So in the UK we do get hot weather. It can last like 3-4 weeks at a time, and what I find is when I'm working on a building, I live in the UK, I don't know what it's like in other countries where it's hotter, but when I'm working around a building, only half the time I will be in the direct sunlight. So I want to give you an example of what I do when I'm working not in the shade, because I don't have to work like this when I'm working in the shade, even when it's 30 odd degrees. It's only when I'm working in direct sunlight. And let this vehicle go past. And today I'm just going to talk about working in the hand, not on the pole. I'll do another video on the pole. So take a typical window cleaner. I'm using my soap solution, I'm using my hand, and I'm going to pass this tool into my hand here because I'm going to work one-handed. And what I'm going to find is when it's really hot, I'm going to now start getting stickiness and film, and it's just not going to work very well because the solution is drying up. So what do I change? Well, there's only one thing that I need to change, and it's the way I work. I'm still going to use the most efficient, most effective, most versatile squeegee that you can buy, and I'm still going to use the best performing soap solution, which is a saturated washer. And when I say saturated, it means saturated, more so saturated when you're working in extreme heat, and soap added to the washer. And I don't get problems, I don't get film, and I don't have to make silly excuses like all these other YouTubers why they can't use this tool. It's the tool's fault, it's not their fault. So what do I need to do? So if I soaked up this glass, normally what I will do is soap it up, and because it's the largest window, I'll clean it twice and go like this. But a bit of a small window, so I don't really want to demonstrate like that. I want to talk about when it's a big window. So what I need to do is I need to compartmentalize the window. That means washing one side once and then squeegeeing over the top and washing twice. So I am working longer and I am working harder and slower, but because I'm working in this extreme environment, I will have to just forfeit working longer, harder, slower, but I'm still getting good quality results. I split the window up, but there's a certain way that I worked. Obviously I did half each, but there's a certain procedure that I did with my technique. Now, a well-known window cleaner has made several videos on arcs, and we'll call it the Steve-O Special. So, this is what I'm not doing. Not so much of a problem here. Still I'm working longer, harder, slower than I did previously. This is where we're going to get the problem. Right, I don't want to be doing those Steve-O Specials. There's two problems. The second part was more of a problem. Right, so what I'm doing is, I'm not creating any arcs. I'm not working longer, harder, slower and getting less results. I'm just slightly working longer, harder, slower than I would like to work in the shade or when it's not hot. So when I'm squeegeeing, I'm starting here, coming over here, coming down here. What have I just done? I've just saved myself a lot of aggravation just by doing that, instead of doing this way. What I've done is I've come up here and I've took out all that edge here, all that corner, and all I've got to do now is work down the window, finish that, come over here. This is where the Steve-O Special comes in. Well, it won't come in for me because I'm not going to do what he does. I do the opposite to what these window cleaners do, because I don't work longer, harder, slow and get less results. What I do is I come over here, still take that corner out. I'm not pushing this rubber with this wet rubber and this wet frame here and then dragging it down, creating an arc. So the only way I'm going to get an arc is if my rubber's damaged or if there's debris on the rubber. All I need to do is adapt the way that I'm working. I don't need to change my tool. I'm going to keep with the best performing tool for window cleaning. I've got a saturated washer with soap added to the washer, and I'm not going to soap up the whole window because I might have a chance of it. We're talking extreme heat burning off, and I remember doing the video when I was talking about working on ovens. So this is why I'm only soaping up one side of the window at a time. I'm coming over, making that swipe. Don't need to go up there again, that's done. Come over, don't need to close out, just lift the squeegee off the glass. Come over here, no Steve-O Specials. Get the window cleaned in the most efficient time, get the highest quality result by changing the way I work, but keeping the same tool. So I can live in San Diego, I can live in New Mexico, and I can still use these tools without any problem. All I've got to do is manipulate the way I work. And this is what most window cleaners are incapable of doing, is either ignorance, they just don't know, or they don't want to know, which is more stubbornness. So that is my solution to working in extreme heat on a large window. On a small window, it's not so much of a problem. Pretty much, it's not going to dry on that small window. So we're talking big windows. And on a pole, got another video coming out on working on a pole. And you know, I don't need to moan and blame the tool or blame somebody else or blame the state that I live in or blame the windows that I'm working on. I don't need to blame anything. I just need to work smarter and get high quality results.